Hello, welcome to Level 30, the podcast by Scots for whoever fancies a listen. It is not for children, so please have responsible viewing or watching or however you are partaking this.
Just let the kids watch it and watch them grow up funny. Like,
Yeah, that's another
my name is Scott. I also go by Half Elf Rose. So if you hear them call me Half Elf Rose or Scott, that's who they're referring to. So for games, I like games with story, games with lots of customization, things that you can really get yourself immersed in if you want to. But similarly, you can kind of take a backseat and just enjoy the story for what it is. So things like Baldur's Gate, things like Pokemon, for example, not a great example of customization, but just a really fun, easy thing to kind of bring along with you.
I'm just
Nice.
an easy breezy girl. I'm up for
Easy breezy
anything.
girly. And Stardew Valley and The Sims, because I'm so unique.
Don't you
So
fucking
what
tell
we've
me
just
this.
recorded is our Tinder bios, is that right?
That's exactly it. It's our Tinder bios. Hi, I'm
Right.
Jen. I love all things geeky.
Hello, I am Walt Arkong. I think the only one who's really streaming at this moment in time out of the other three. Usually, I kind of fell into a niche recently of playing horror games and everything because I just enjoy them. It was mostly that came about because Resident Evil Village was coming out, and then I thought, oh, it'd be a good idea to stream how we went from fighting zombies to them being chased by a big goth mummy. A VTuber is basically, as you can see, I am represented by this avatar instead. I don't like to show my face. I just mainly just because I'm ugly in real life. I just like the animosity.
Anonymity.
No.
Animosity.
Animosity, yeah.
You
it's
enjoy
animosity.
the angry rage of,
Yeah.
of not being...
To describe what I look like, yeah, I would say like a half monkey man. I've got my silver hair slipped back into a top knot. I have my pointed ears and my big bushy sideburns.
Can I describe what I look like for the podcast viewers?
Yeah, if you want.
Handsome bastards.
Thank you very much, Walt. I am 7 feet tall, rippling with muscles. I definitely don't wear glasses, and my beard is not shit.
Like an even sexier Hugh Jackman.
Yeah!
Oh, God.
This is beautiful. Jamie, you want to go next?
My name is Jane. People call me Jammy because I used to stream on Twitch under Jammy Bella. Don't even bother. I've not streamed in years. I'm what you would call stuck in the 90s with games. I remembered when games. Back in my day, you used to be open a cereal box and get a wee free demo as a prize. By the way, so I really enjoy. I have like a PlayStation original, like a PlayStation 1, which I still play to this day with like the old Tomb Raider, Mickey's Wild Adventure, the Jurassic Park game. That's my sort of jam. You know, really sort of retro-ish games, The Sims, that sort of bullshit. But that's honestly what I enjoy. I enjoy familiarity and comfort and trying to, recapture a little bit of my childhood because life is shit. Currently just playing Grand Theft Auto, Borderlands 2. And yeah, I'm here for the vibes. Oh, and I'm Ginger. That's what
Is that the
people should know.
only description you want to include?
I don't know.
Ginger, sexy as fuck.
Ginger. Ginger will do. So, you know.
I'm using Scott's description.
Yeah, I think we all agree with my description, right?
Yeah. Walt's not allowed to answer.
Walt is a married man.
Like, when I talk too much, I get yelled at. When I'm quiet to let other people talk, I get backhanded by her as well. Like, there's no winning.
There's
Can
a
you tell
reason
who
I
he's
invited
married
you.
to?
Yeah. It's probably a beautiful way to segue into me and Walt are married, if you hadn't guessed from the first episode. My name is Isla. I go by Zesty Todd if I'm streaming, which I haven't done since September, but I plan to start, and let's see if this will shunt me into it. I am an amateur gamer. I only started gaming in 2020, 2021. Started with a Way Out, and then went to Borderlands 2 and never stopped. And it's glorious. I need games that are simple, because anything complicated and I get overwhelmed. And I think that isn't acknowledged in games enough. That There's too many controls, there's too many buttons, there's too many options. And if I can't heal using X, Y, A, or B, I'm dead. I'm dead. So yeah, that's me. And as evident by the concept of the podcast, we are all Scottish.
Yeah. Well, actually, I would like to say something. That wasn't...
Oh, no.
Your first game wasn't a way out. I remember the first game you ever completed.
I mean, technically it was Candy Crush.
No, it was Pokemon
You
Yellow.
played Candy Crush?
Oh, yeah.
What kind of wizard are you?
Pokemon Yellow
like-
was the first game you ever beat.
On a mobile game. Pokemon Yellow was the first game I ever beat.
See, I remember
Nice.
that.
Yeah.
'Cause
I mean,
gave
I
you it.
also vividly remember my sister playing Kingdom Hearts at home and not letting me share. And by Jammy's logic, I gamed by proxy. So
Yes, it's a
I,
real thing. People look it up.
Well,
yeah.
you've beat the Kingdom Hearts all now
Now.
anyway.
Yeah, but that's why I wanted to play it. So
that
yeah,
was
there's
fun.
been little dipping your toes in the water before 2020. And then the pandemic hit and I really got into gaming. It was a necessity.
It
But
was.
yeah, I'd say it's not just about games. It's about movies, TV shows, D&D, anything relatively nerdy. I think I'm pretty keen on.
It's a broad spectrum that we find
Is-
ourselves on.
Yeah.
And what a spectrum it is. Without further ado, we want to talk about the end of 2024. What did we
Yeah.
like? What did we not like? And I think we should start off with the games that we've played. So,
I'll go first, since I am, of course, the resident novice gamer who doesn't partake in much gaming. I don't know why you guys invited me on this thing. But I've been really enjoying... So I tried Uncharted this year. I feel like maybe this is 10, 15 years out of date, possibly more. I tried Uncharted this year, surprisingly really enjoyed it. The thing for me was I get nervous playing games that I don't know that I already like, so therefore I won't go out my way to do new games, which makes absolutely no sense to anybody. I also really got back into The Sims 4. Oh my god, a white girl who loves The Sims. So that was good. And Roller Coaster Tycoon. I go back into that as well. Like, that's my vibe.
What else have you been playing this year, Jamie? Let's be real.
Well, Borderlands 2, obviously,
Thank
is my
you.
and I
most...
have to say that is a 2012 game. So we're much longer than just 10 years out of date.
Also, for those of you who are hearing my voice for the first time, I don't always sound like that. I just wanted to be sassy.
No, yeah. My main game is Borderlands 2. I started playing that in 2020. I won't stop
me.
playing that ever.
Right.
It's amazing. But I've played Uncharted this year. I've found my love for like old games that I used to play as a child. But I am wanting to, now that I've got Steam, I am wanting to expand in 2025. So that would be my take, which is absolutely...
We're being dragged kicking and screaming away from our consoles and into PC gaming, and it hurts.
No, but I still like have my console. If I can't play a game that has a console attachment, like if I can't fucking Bluetooth my PlayStation console, I ain't playing it. I'm sorry, I can't press A. Can't do it.
I need to X.
I need to like right. So that's me. Anybody else want to?
That's important though, because it's often assumed with the big games that you know how to play, and then it's just like there's no interaction. Do you remember when I tried playing Spider-Man 2? And I was just screaming, physically screaming, as I tried to swing through because I couldn't get the mechanic, because it was assumed for Spider-Man 1 you'd already got the swing mechanic to work.
Welcome to R2 to swing. Oh my god. How? Oh my god.
Principal Evans already hates me for being late this morning. Bro, I told you to
What is with this? Oh, I want to go back to Borderlands.
So
Yeah.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
This is what pisses me off. Sorry. This is what pisses me off with like games is like, do you remember when you were a child and they had tutorials?
Mm-hmm.
Where did they go? Where did they go? It's now just like assumed that you would just like I feel like a boomer in this because my dad asked me this very question yesterday. He was like, "How do you just know what to do with a phone?" And I was like, "It's intuitive, father." But I'm guessing for like actual gamers, like Walt, you're like a real gamer. Is it just intuitive for you to know? Because I ain't got a fucking clue.
It pretty much is just second nature now with the half of the things.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so helpful. Thank you.
No, I was about to continue, for fuck's sake.
Let the man speak.
I know, like for example, like I've been playing through all the I played through all the Resident Evils. Like when I pick up a game like that, like just the mechanics and everything of games like that, and like Silent Hill when I played it, I just know what I'm doing. I'm like, right, cool. There's that key. I will find that door later. I'll remember where that goes. I'll go do that, and it's the same with just buttons and everything. X is always to X if it's on the Xbox. Square is always to reload. X is always to jump for things.
Yeah.
Triggers fire.
See, I'm somewhere in the middle of you guys because I will struggle if I go from playing like the Switch a bunch to going back to like an Xbox controller because everything's the wrong way around. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So it is a bit confusing sometimes.
I feel like this isn't an issue for anybody kind of, but
No, it is. It is. I have exactly the same problem. I can't swap between games, never mind between PC and console. Because if I'm playing BL2 and then I swap to God of War, I don't know what I'm doing. And then I'm dying. And then usually I've saved at a point where I got stuck. So it's a really difficult part of the game. And then I'm just in a never ending loop of death.
You don't have any like time to get back into the swing of things.
No.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I had it the other day when I was playing. I think it was. Oh, it was when I was playing Wukong, and then I pressed the wrong button. And I'm like, why did I do that to sprint? And it was because I had been playing Silent Hill for the past 4 days, where L1 is to sprint. So I'm not used to just pressing that. So I went to go sprint in Wukong, and then just drank my health potion, which I didn't want to do at the time. So I was just like sitting there
Full
going,
health potion. Shit,
much.
that was my last one. I'm fucked now. Great.
Pretty much.
But I think it is just like muscle memory as well, because like I know when I'm on my phone and then I accidentally rearrange my wee icons and they all like shake as if they're all gonna like be uninstalled, and I actually like that power. You know, shake on my bench, which one is gonna go? But then if I accidentally like swap an icon around, then for the next 3 to 5 business days, I will be hitting on the wrong app because it's muscle memory for me to be like, it's in this folder, it's right here, it's right here. No, it's not, it's moved.
That's
So
exactly it. Yeah.
What I'm getting from that is that we're all too old to be gaming because we can't adapt.
Yes.
How dare you?
I can adapt. I'm just saying I make the odd
You
mistake.
just said you couldn't. You just
No,
said
I
you
just
took
made
a potion when you didn't need to.
Yeah, by the odd mistake, and then I remember it. It's just that I have a brief moment where I'm like, why did I do that? Oh, it was because of this game that's making me do that.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah, in
so
fact, he's such a gamer. He's such a gamer. The other games are fucking him up.
Scott, what
that was my little tangent. Sorry. So someone else take over about their 2024 because mine was the most pish. So I went first.
Scott, what have you been playing?
So, quite predictably for me, I mean, this is the first episode of the podcast. Nobody fucking knows me, but I like the Souls games and I like Dragon Ball. So the Shadow of the Erdtree DLC for Elden Ring came out this year, and that was me for a good 3 months just going through that. I'm not good at the FromSoft games. Like, I am not good at them at all. But I love them and they're great and I find them so much fun. And it's the same with Dragon Ball. So Sparking Zero came out this year, and it's a fighting game. So classic, like arcade fighter, but in a 3D kind of situation. A lot of people didn't like it. I really enjoyed it though. I played the story mode. The people who didn't enjoy it were playing the online mode and being like, "Oh, people are beating me with these cheesy strategies," and I'm like, "Yeah, you're online. If you've been online before, that's gonna happen." And then much the same as Gen Borderlands 2 and 3. I gave 3 a try this year for the first time since it came out, after hearing from everyone that it was heinous pish. And I loved it. The story was awful. I will say the story was awful. But the mechanics and the quality of life.
Is 2 better?
2,
yes.
2 is better overall. But see, I've said this to Jen and Isla a million times, and I'll say it again. If you put the mechanics and quality of life changes from Borderlands 3 into Borderlands 2, you would have the perfect game, and I will die on that hill.
If you shut the fuck up, then you will have shut the fuck up. There you go.
You
And
are
I'll die on
outvoted,
That's-
that hill.
so you're wrong.
That's a
But
good
thank you.
argument.
I had no idea that you really liked Dragon Ball, so I was quite surprised by that.
I love Dragon Ball so much.
You kept that really quiet, really, really quiet.
Yeah. So that's gonna be a big thing. I love Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball Daima. I don't know, Walt, have you watched any of the new stuff?
Oh god, the last Dragon Ball I watched was what was it, Super for a little bit, where they had that tournament arc. It
Mhm.
was like where it was two universes fighting, and they introduced one guy. What was his name? Started with a P. is it
Pit.
Pit. Where it was my most funniest moment, because the whole thing with Goku is he just gets stronger all the time, and he gets stronger and stronger and stronger to beat things. And then he just went, you know what, I'm going to try that. And just everyone's like, no, that's Goku's thing. You can't do that. And he's like, no, I'm going to do it. You just can't stop me. I'm just going to get stronger now.
That's my thing.
It's like, no, it's Goku's. You can't do that. He's like, I don't care. You can't stop me. I'm just going to get stronger. So yeah, that's
So
the far
they
I got to it.
trademarked leveling up.
Yeah, but
Pretty
yeah,
much.
because that was always Goku's thing. Like, it gets
He
stupid.
always gets just strong enough to beat the bad guy, or like ridiculously stronger than the bad guy. And
Or
then
a
it's
new-
like, oh, there's a new one, and now
or
he's
a-
even strong. Like
yeah,
that's the whole.
or a new form.
The new form things. Yeah, always something. Always something.
Yeah.
What games you been playing in 2024?
Not Borderlands 2. I'm the only one out of this whole
Sin
group
bin.
that
Sin
doesn't
bin.
play.
Traitor! Traitor! Traitor.
I tend to like play like I've ended up falling in this horror genre things where I played through like Resident Evils and stuff and all that. I just beat Silent Hill 2, which was quite fun. I need to go back and get the other endings. Is it 7 endings left? Silent Hill's got a lot of endings for them. But like my two main games were Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, which if you didn't know what that is, that's the Yakuza series. The last two have been RPGs, which I think was a great turn of pace. One of the great things, though, I loved it and I hated people for it at the same time. People went into the newest when Like a Dragon came out and they're like, wait, this is an RPG, what the hell, where's the actual fighting? It's like, do you guys not watch any gameplay footage? Like, the amount of people who were complaining that it was an RPG and they didn't know, it's like, that was their main selling point, was to tell people it's an RPG now. And the other main one, which I was playing again last night, was Black Myth Wukong. First AAA game to come out of China, which is a big thing, actually, as well as, like, a lot of people don't realise it, is, like, China does produce games, but it's always just mobile games, because that's the biggest thing in China. It's just people playing on mobile games, but because of Black Myth Wukong, there was a massive surge of sales of PlayStation 5s, and people playing on consoles and stuff.
I feel as if, personally, like I've played a lot of games in 2024 because I have watched Walt stream quite a lot. So
No,
whatever
you do not complete the games by proxy.
You know, I would argue that you do.
I've experienced it. I've experienced
Exactly.
the Alien game with you. I've experienced that Wukong game. I've experienced Silent Hill. I didn't know who that was. Congratulations. Oh, it's Pyramid Head. Heard to him.
Yeah.
There's a lot of games that I've experienced
It
because I'm watching Walt on Twitch.
was legit when I was playing it, and then she's like, I get that, and I just imagined the scene in what is it, Marvel, with just Captain America going, I get that reference.
Yes, I get that reference. I understand that. Yeah.
Yeah, I played a lot of games. Like, one of the ones I want to shout out, and it was most recent, and it was an indie game, and I played it, and it was called Sorry, We're Closed. It was a small indie game. It played like old school Resident Evils and stuff with the top-down tank controls and everything. But it was just a really funky game. The art style was really nice. It reminded me of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. The music in it was great with all the boss fights. And I was more wanting the boss fights to go on longer so I could just vibe to the music. But yeah, just giving a shout out to that one because I really enjoyed that one.
I want you to tell us about the poker game because that's new.
Oh,
that's
yes.
indie and it's trending. And I sort of couldn't get the idea of it, and then watched
is
you
this-
play, and I was obsessed.
Balatro. No, you were no.
I've heard about it.
No, you were watching me play not the poker game. You were watching me play the TCG You were talking about the game last night.
You showed me the poker game.
I showed you the poker game, but you became obsessed when I was playing the TCG simulator as well.
Okay, tell me both. You ruined my segue. Thank you so much
No,
for
no.
that. Talk about the poker game.
Actually,
Yes, it is Balatro. I can't remember what it won. I'm sure it won an award. I need to check. Balatro is that kind of dopamine rush, like it was the same with Vampire Survivors. It's a cheap and simple game. The thing is, it's like I said, it's a poker, and you've got to get points. So, but like Vampire Survivors, you start off, you don't have that many skills and stuff. You upgrade it, you die, you keep replaying it, you get better items and better. You do bigger damage, and it's the same with Balatro. The more you play it, the more cards you unlock, because as you're doing like the things like, just making up like a pair or a straight flush or a royal flush, you can buy Joker cards, and the Joker cards then multiply and stuff, so it starts to you get silly points. Like at the beginning when you're playing it, you're just like, here, 200 points. Well done! Whereas like the best I done was got 20,000 points so far. But there's people that played it where they've caused infinite loop combos where the game just constantly generating money. And it's just like, yeah, we've broke the game.
Why is it fun?
Because it's that little dopamine rush where you're like, it's just a simple clicking game. You're like, oh yeah, I got to make a straight. I make big number. Big number make me happy.
Number go up.
It's like getting a streak in Candy Crush,
Yes.
basically.
But
Yes. Relate
like, yeah,
it to the
now-
people, Isla.
now
Yes.
imagine Candy Crush then, that the more you play it, you unlock bonuses to make combos go even bigger.
That's exactly how Candy Crush works.
Yeah.
honey.
Okay, yeah, but
But
in this case,
you don't have ads.
have to use microtransactions.
Yeah, that's
for it.
well.
Yeah.
You just need to
Yeah.
play. You just need to play game.
Okay, cool. So this thing has hit like the indie games sort of attention, and it's addictive and it's fun and it's fast. Is that why it's successful?
Yeah, it's like that's what I was saying. I compared it to I was going to say Monster Hunter, Vampire Survivors, because it's like it's just quick little games. Well, that you think it's quick, then you realize one run you're doing takes 40 minutes, and you're like,
Okay,
oh god.
hang on. Hands up in the podcast. Who's heard of Vampire Survivors before?
No, but I'm intrigued.
My hand is up.
Oh, you've
I was
heard
going to
of
say
it.
this
I
earlier.
did.
No.
Jen,
I love a vampire.
It's
No.
not what you think,
No.
and you're going to be
Oh.
really disappointed by it.
My
That-
immediately
It's really
aroused by
fun
this.
Yeah,
and really addictive, but it's not sexy vampires. It's
Oh, don't.
it's
little pixel guy in the middle of the screen, lots of enemies rushing at you, and you have to kill them, collect experience, upgrade your weapons, and
Yeah.
survive for
Like,
a certain amount of time.
like imagine like Space Invaders / Asteroids,
Mhm.
but by the end of it, you're firing gigantic scythes in all directions, dealing millions of damage to like
I want
hundreds of enemies.
Yeah, no sexy vampires, but Baldur's Gate 3 might be your vibe.
You
Well,
just-
have we done?
That is exactly
Violet?
what I said. That is exactly why. If you want sexy vampires and you want sexy vampire
Yeah.
roleplay, then you need to try Baldur's Gate.
I feel like Astarion's too much of a twink for Jen. But anyway, on you go.
Yeah, that's true. There's other very romanceable bad guys in it. So my 2024 involved finishing Baldur's Gate, which is technically a 2023 game, but I put 200 hours into my first playthrough and I was obsessed with it. Haven't gone back because someone stole the PS5. Mew.
You can have it back whenever you want. We've
I
had
know,
this.
I know. I need to be less of a people pleaser and to go
Well,
take it.
Seeing as
So,
people like to
wait-
interrupt people, I'm going to interrupt you to throw you under the bus here about
Okay.
it, because I told my friends about
Skip to 24 minutes.
for people who don't know this as well. It's Baldur's Gate is just Dungeons and Dragons. If you don't know what Dungeons and Dragons is now, at this point, I don't care.
It's too late.
Yeah, stop
Um,
listening. You're
so-
not welcome anymore.
Isla would get stuck on some bosses because she was a druid, and she would begin in with only like 2 spell slots to her name. She wouldn't long rest before big boss fights.
I would like to call Scott as a witness. Do you remember that fight that you complimented me on?
I do. I was really impressed with how you handled it because you went in with such low resources and you strategized your way out of that shitty situation.
So let me explain, which is probably why Baldur's Gate is not suited to everyone. I had the fear that if I slept in Baldur's Gate, which would allow time to pass or the next day to pass, that key crucial events in the game would pass me by and I would miss that deadline. And I hate missing a deadline. You will learn that I'm very strict with myself. So I would go through as much gameplay as I possibly could without sleeping. And with spells, it means I'd use the spells when I needed them, and then I'd run out, and I didn't want to sleep to replenish them. So I would end up doing big, major boss fights without any spell slots, and just winging it as much as possible with cantrips and dash and anything I can. And you know what? Having played the game the first time round and, you know, played it through, I think I would be better if I went back to it. But for that time being, it was a very anxiety-inducing time of my life where I would play for 12 hours straight without physically sleeping or in-game sleeping.
It was inspiring. Honestly, inspired. I remember it was like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, something. Isla Todd's online, like on Twitch, live on Twitch. Right, here we go. And I'm like, okay, hey, right, okay, so I've not played Baldur's Gate because I don't know PS5, but like intrigued watching you. That's great. Left after about an hour. Love you. See you later.
Love you, bye.
Tell me why 10 hours later, she's still,
still
and I'm
there,
like, are you
running around as a wee dragonborn.
This is it. Yeah.
It's like, I'm not eating.
But yeah, that was it. It was the Udi you had on.
Yeah,
It was the concentration. You weren't talking to anyone in chat.
5 o'clock shadow.
You were locked into this game, and I was like, "This is." I was proud. I was proud because that's how I feel every time I play.
I've never been obsessed with the game more.
Yeah.
And there's probably a good reason why I haven't gone back to it. It's because I'm scared I will get that ingrained back in. I want to do an evil playthrough. Anyway, so that's one of the games I played last year. I blitzed through Horizon Zero Dawn, having tried that when it first came out, failed because it was on Walt's profile. And I decided I wanted to do it. And I did. And I got so obsessed with it. I went and did a lot of the side quests as well. And then I tried God of War and couldn't quite get the controls enough to love it. But I do want to go back to that. And of course, I played an awful lot of Borderlands 2.
Yay!
It is our comfort game, and that is important. And
we get together maybe like once a week, and we play Borderlands 2, and we just have fun.
Just have fun.
It's really good.
So we love it.
I'm not sorry.
Jamie, do you have a fact for us?
Oh, so
Give us a story.
That's right. So this is like the part of the podcast. The sort of idea we had was that we were Scottish people talking about video games, pop culture. So I thought it'd be fun to link history with Scottish history with games. So here's my little factoid of the day. My little Jane factoid is back in the 16th century, when the Spanish Armada was like doing its thing, trying to get across to Britain, and Elizabeth first was like, listen, I may be a VL, but I'm not going to let you take Britain, right? So they were trying to get
You're
over.
going to need to explain VL, by the way.
Oh,
For
VL.
everyone outside of the like 10-mile radius around where you live.
VL means virgin lips. It's like a playground insult. So you'd go, you're a VL, you're a VL. It means you've not kissed anyone, basically, right? It's like a childish insult it's one of my favourite insults. To just be like, shut up, you VL, right? Like to like married people, I'm like, shut up, you VL. So anyway, she's cutting about being like, no, not gonna happen. Anyway, the Spanish Armada was making its way over, and due to weather conditions, high winds and such, they got blown north towards Scotland and Ireland. Ireland is part of this. But there was a lot of shipwrecks along the coast of Scotland, and part of like the legend, the story goes that Scottish people and Irish people had seen these shipwrecks and were like, banter, free wood, let's make a house. So there are documented cases of people using these shipwrecks to make their houses more secure, weatherproof them, sort of thing, which is interesting, right? However, there is a town, so the legend goes, just north of Inverness called Och, but it's spelled Avoch. I always pronounce it Avoch and was immediately told, no, that's not right. Where it said that there were Spanish people from the Armada who settled, and there are some people living in Knock who have done ancestry DNA kits and have found that they have Spanish heritage despite never leaving Scotland, which is very interesting. And then the other wee factoid is one of the boats crashed in Tobermory, which is the scene of Balamory, if anybody's watched that. And apparently there's a load of buried treasure at the bottom of Tobermory. There we go. How does this tie into a game? I hear you ask, Jennifer. So there's not a lot from my research. Now, someone could like come in and correct me here. There's not a lot of games with the Spanish Armada, which I honestly feel like they're missing a trick, because what was that game that everyone went batshit for a couple of years
Sea
ago?
of Thieves.
Sea of Thieves, that's the one. Everyone went batshit for that. There's definitely a gap in the market, but I know you can play Assassin's Creed Black Flag, where you are in the Spanish Armada. So there we go. There's my very poorly woven link between gaming and history. Spanish Armada, they settled in Scotland, supposedly. There might be buried treasure at the bottom of Tobermory. There needs to be more games of the Spanish Armada, but you can play some. You can play some. There you go. That was
You
shit.
could roleplay as the Spanish
argue-
Armada.
I would argue that it's not just a podcast about games, although we will be talking a lot about that, but it's TV shows, movies, stuff that we are consuming from the screen. Wall to keep it clean. And and Tobermory, Balamory being a TV show. So I would link it that way.
There we go. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I mean, I do feel like that's quite interesting though. That there are games in which, or there's time periods in history that I feel are untapped in the games market.
Underutilized, yeah, definitely.
Completely
Imagine
underutilized.
playing a game simulation or a game that was set during the Jacobite era. Unless you're about to tell me there is one. Imagine there being like
Incredible.
battle plans of Culloden, which
Like
is
incredible.
incredibly grim, but also that would be fascinating.
But there's definitely a niche market for these, and perhaps not even niche, because you look at things like Skyrim. I know the developers of Skyrim took a lot of, they looked at the scenery of the Scottish Highlands and sort of based Skyrim on the scenery of the Scottish Highlands. So there is, and everyone's always like, but look up, look how beautiful this is, and the music and everything, and it's very Celtic orientated. And I feel like there are gaps in the market for, like you say, like the Battle of Culloden, like a strategy game, the Battle of Culloden, like almost like Grand Theft Auto. I know for a fact, if you dropped me in the middle of Los Angeles, I'd be able to make my way around. No bother. I know that for a fact. I'd be like, oh, killed someone there, ran away from the police there. Oh my God. Like, but it's, it's almost like the same. Do you know what I mean? There are gaps.
So, according to my research, Uncharted 4, A Thief's End, some sections were inspired by the Scottish Highlands.
There you go.
Huh.
Exactly.
Yeah, Jamie, as I think Scott was going to say, you can just roleplay as the Spanish Armada and Sea of Thieves, because there was a TikTok going around. It was two guys were playing as English privateers, and they were like taking ships, and they're like, "We will let you go if you give us your tea." And they were streaming, and they had the full like white makeup with a little spot and the big pompadours on and everything.
Love that.
Beauty spot.
I didn't know that actually.
I
Right.
love that, yeah.
Any honorable mentions for 2024? Because mine is the D&D podcast show, Dimension 20 went on tour, and they came to Glasgow, and me and Walt went to see
Oh.
that, and it was incredible. So that's it doesn't fit into a niche of anything we're going to talk about, but it was something that was incredible to witness. But do you guys have any honorable mentions for 2024 that we haven't covered?
I think my
How about
honourable mention has to be Interview with the Vampire. I'm just going to plug it every time I can.
Oh, fair enough, yeah.
But the TV
Interview with the
series as well.
Vampire had a chokehold on me this year completely.
Literally.
I wish. I've rewatched it about 7 times, like all the way through. Not even ashamed. And it got me into a conversation with Isla where I was like, why aren't there any vampire games where you play the vampire and you go ahead even seducing people, you're killing a few here and there, and then you mentioned Baldur's Gate, and I was like, no, but that's not the same, because you're on like a D&D quest. I want skulking around in a castle, being a little bit queer,
Chomping
a little
on
bit
necks. Sleeping in
Chocolate
coffins, becoming a
loving
bat.
that. Do you know what I mean? Dracula, dead and loving it. And I feel like with Nosferatu just coming out, it's kind of created this whole vampire resurgence again. Where people are like, "Oh my god, have you seen Nosferatu? Have you seen this?" No, 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 no. I want more vampire. It's a very white girl answer to give. I'll give you that. But I want more vampires. I know your sparkly bullshit, Cullen. I want vampires.
It's
There
just the
is a
skin of a
market to
killer,
be had.
Jamie.
White girl
Uh,
games.
well, like there is a game. Well, it's not medieval time, but it's based in God, what time? Like 2000 or something like that. Called Vampire: The Masquerade, where you
Which
make
is also tabletop.
that you
Oh.
make yourself a vampire, and it's like it's vampires are run like vampires, but like gangs as well, because it is in like the early 2000s. It's been out for God, how long's that been out? It's been
It
so long.
looks like shit and it plays like shit.
But
Aw.
people are obsessed with it
Unfortunately.
because like you choose which clan you want to be in. Like one of the clans is it's like you're just a fucking sewer rat vampire. You live in the sewers. You're ugly as fuck. You eat rats most of the time.
That's the Nosferatu, by the
yeah,
way.
yeah. I couldn't remember the race. There's also
And then
another.
you've got the Brujau that are like battle poets. They're just like hipsters with muscles. They just go about and fuck shit up.
Love.
I don't know if they're in the game, but the La Sombra, they are like your classic shadow
1991.
ones.
There we go.
Oh yeah, that's why it looks like shit then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there needs to be a new
Yeah.
like obviously all the game
Mhm.
developers will be
It-
listening to this podcast, obviously.
Obviously.
It
Come on,
was-
guys, chop chop.
Well, it was like 3 years ago or something. It was called V Rising. It was like top down, like kind of Baldur's Gate, but it is like you get dropped on this island, and it's like you have to cut down trees to and you build yourself a castle and everything. And eventually, like the more you go out and fight things and bring it back, and it's like The Sims but with vampires. Honorable mentions, like I did give my honorable mention to what was it at the beginning of the podcast, and it was like that. Sorry, we're closed, and a lot more. I've been following a lot more like indie developers on Twitter and stuff, and waiting for games to come out. Like not every great game has to be AAA.
So my honorable mention is 2 years old. However, it is still being updated. It's in early access. It's the sequel to one of my favorite games of all time, Slime Rancher 2. Has
Alright.
anyone played Slime Rancher?
Not touched it, but I know of it.
Oh no, I watched you play that on stream. So as we've established earlier, by proxy, yes, I have played this game. Of course, I have. But I watched you do that. And you put them all in a wee cage and stuff. You like gather them up. Yes, I love
Yeah.
that. Was so chill. That was
It's
so
the
relaxing.
most chill game. I will download that once every few months,
Yeah,
start a new file, and just sit and play it for hours on end. I love it so much.
Genuinely, almost fell asleep on stream watching you play that because I was so chilled out. And then you add your voice into the mix and everything, and you'd like plinky plonky music on in the background, and I was like,
Yeah,
"This is therapy. This is beautiful. I love this."
I've got the lo-fi on. I've got the like sleepy ASMR voice on, just very gently talking into the microphone. But yeah, no, Slime Rancher 2 is still being updated. It is ongoing in early access, and I can't wait for the full release, even though I've played it like all the way through 6 times already. There's still more to come.
I
Perfect.
love that.
I
Love that.
was going to say then there's the absolute polar opposite of you, like the way you described Scott streams, and then you get to mine and it's just me swearing because I've died to this one boss in Wukong for the 50th time already. And then there's just music,
I think
the random
is better
soundtrack.
when you have the chaos is better when you have the random simulator on Resident Evil.
Oh, the randomizer. Oh man,
That's it.
Scott has chaos. Scott has a
Mm.
lot of chaos in their streams. I will say that.
Oh yeah, do you know what, Jen? Do you wanna do you wanna highlight one of your favorite moments from? I don't stream anymore, by the way.
Wait,
but like, this isn't an
yes.
advert for my stream. But
Oh,
So
Big
follow
Jen wants to talk about
follow me
this.
instead.
okay. This is my honourable mention of 2024. Fuck it, yes. Scott, Twitch, like on Twitch, playing Borderlands 2. I'm sitting there watching them. It's quite late at night. And Scott's having trouble with this boss fight. And all of a sudden, we just start jamming out to Chocolate Rain by Tay Zonde. And it gets more and more ridiculous to the point where Scott's like, give me 2 seconds, comes back. Tayzonde is now covering every single square on this stream with multiple him singing multiple times, and it's just overlapping and overlapping. And Scott's firing this gun more and more, and you can just hear chocolate, red, chocolate, chocolate, red, chocolate, da, 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 da. Like over and over. That was probably a highlight. I almost actually spontaneously combusted. It was that funny. It was so good.
See, when I took my headset off and stood up after that stream, I nearly just blacked out immediately. I nearly hit the floor. My head was spinning and pounding, and I was just like, oh my god.
I live for this chaos. But you beat the boss. You did it.
We did.
Tayzonde
In the end.
saves the day. There we go.
Oof.
Guys,
Oh
we're
boy,
going to
oh
wrap it
boy.
up there for episode 1. So next episode, we're going to have what we're looking forward to in 2025 and more tangents.
Mental
And
stability. What? Oh, you meant games.
So thank you so much for joining us, and I hope you enjoyed.
Love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye.
Love you, bye. Walt, say love you, bye.
Bye.